Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Anya and today I'm going to be sharing with you my 35-week pregnancy update. This week I had my last ultrasound with the actual ultrasound specialist people. I have mentioned in the past that I did do a ultrasound level 2, which actually means it's a few ultrasounds spread out throughout the pregnancy, and this week was my very last one in his office. The reason why they do this is because I'm actually considered high risk pregnancy because I'm over 35 years old. So I'm practically ancient and I'm having a baby, and they recommended, of course, that I get monitored throughout the whole pregnancy. And even though nothing actually went ever wrong with Sebastian and absolutely nothing has been going on out of the normal with this baby, they do recommend that I go in and get checked out on a regular basis. So everything with that appointment went absolutely great. The baby was already measuring at 35 weeks and 1 day, even though I was actually a little bit short of actually meeting the 35 week mark. And so she's actually said that she's measuring great. Nothing too far off that we should be concerned, but definitely a little bit bigger than where she by the timeline should be at this point. The doctor also mentioned that if I go full term, like to the actual 40 weeks, it's looking like shaping up to be about 7.5 to 8 pound baby at the very end. At this time though, she estimates that the baby's weighing at around 5 pounds 11 ounces. So that's crazy to me because Sebastian actually came out at 6.12. So that's only 1 pound away from where he was like fully cooked. So knowing that I am moving around with an almost full-blown ready to be delivered baby is really magical and amazing. They checked on every single one of the organs, the liver, the stomach, the heart, the lungs, everything checked out a-okay. So I'm super happy about that. So we actually couldn't get any pictures of this visit during the ultrasound, which was kind of a bummer because I did get pictures of Sebastian all the way until the very end. But with this round of the ultrasound, the baby seemed to be in quite a tight squeeze. So she's definitely head down and her back is actually facing my front. So she couldn't really get in to see like her profile or anything like that. And then her legs and her arms were kind of like inside, well, all of her is inside of my body, but her legs and feet were actually kind of tucked in towards my back. So there was absolutely nothing that she could take a picture of and send me home with. And even though I was bummed out, I was just still so happy to see that everything was a-okay that I really didn't care. I'm like, whatever, I'll see your face when you get here, which hopefully will be in just a few weeks. So as you know, I've been keeping really regular with my chiropractor appointments. She actually said that I'm doing great. She thinks my body is moving really well. So I'm very happy to hear that because, as you know, I started going to the chiropractor to make sure that my body was ready for delivery. And even though that wasn't really an issue going into my delivery with Sebastian, I didn't want it to stop me from going into the very best possibility that I could now that I'm having my baby girl. So she said that everything is going great and we're still doing one appointment a week to just get readjusted and continue to make sure everything is a-okay. So this week I've also been super emotional, and I honestly started considering actually going to speak to a therapist and getting an appointment, just talking it out and feeling how I would kind of just talk it out. I ended up actually speaking to my pastor and his wife. That made me feel a lot better. I feel like I actually have a plan in place now. So, I'm taking it one day at a time, but definitely not being shy about getting, some extra help, because I do think it's definitely important. I actually did make a video on my channel about pre-pregnancy or pre-delivery type of depression, which I don't think I am at, but I definitely recognize different signs that lead me to believe I do need to actually speak to somebody. So I've taken that approach. I'm going to see how it goes, and let's see what happens. So this past week I also had to travel a bit for work, and I ended up doing a day trip up to New York City, and it typically takes me a little bit more than 2 hours each way. Not a big deal, I thought. So I got in my car and I drove up to New York City early in the morning and expected to be back early afternoon, I would say, before rush hour. So I got in my car, I drove all the way over there, uneventful, everything was great. You know, the normal traffic. New York City is traffic central. And I got to work, did my meeting, did my thing, and then came back home. When I was on my way back home, everything was fine, but as I arrived to the toll to get off of the main highway that takes me to my town, I started experiencing a really intense cramp on my right foot, the foot that I need to press on the pedals. And it was a really scary experience because it was scary, and at the same time I was like, thank God that it happened when it happened. So what happened? After I passed the toll, I realized, okay, this cramp is not going away. So I had to pull over to the side into a space that was designated for buses to do their pickups and drop-offs. And I really didn't care at the time. I was just like, I need to put this car on park and just lay my feet down on the floor so that, oh, because by the way, I was wearing heels. Yes, that's right, I was wearing heels. 35 weeks pregnant, the ladies and gentlemen, and I was wearing heels, my full-blown outfit, to go to work and lead this meeting that I was doing. So I got off on the side of the road, I planted my feet flat on the car floor as soon as I was able to get my heels off, and I waited there just a couple of minutes, and then I was able to head back into the road and get home. From that point to home, it was only about, I would probably say, maybe 4 or 5 mile drive. So it really wasn't long at all, and I knew the end was coming, and so it was perfectly fine. But it nevertheless was a pretty scary experience, especially because of the possibility that it would have happened just a few minutes prior to actually having me arrive at the toll where I was able to get off on the side of the road. Had this happened to me in the middle of the highway, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, it was my foot that I was using to drive, and it wasn't, I mean, it's definitely not like you could just switch feet back and forth, especially in a highway. So I was definitely very, very glad that it happened when it happened. And also, it's like kind of like a warning. And I told my husband, I called him right away and I said, this is the last time that I'm actually going to be taking these long drives all by myself until the end of my pregnancy, because even though I feel good and I think like I can do it, it's definitely something that I don't think I should risk. So one of the very disappointing things about this week is that I have not been able to do any type of walking at all. I definitely have, though, been able to get in sleep. I have been able to sleep, I would say on average, about 8 hours a night. And even though it's not like straight through 8 hours, even though I do still have to get up at least once to go to the bathroom to pee, I still feel like I'm getting enough rest. Again, moving side to side in bed sometimes is a little bit painful, but I still feel like I'm getting enough rest, enough quality sleep time. But I'm still exhausted. I'm still so exhausted, and I think that it has to do, number one, with being physically exhausted. I mean, I'm carrying a 35-week belly, and I'm also kind of tending to my toddler, and at the same time I feel like my emotional state is also taking a toll in that tiredness that I feel. So at the end of the night, when I put Sebastian down to sleep, I kind of feel like, okay, now I can do things, but at the same time I feel like, okay, I should go take a shower and go straight to sleep. And so that's kind of been the struggle in my mind all week long. And of course, getting up early before he wakes up to actually go ahead and do my walk before I go, you know, start the actual work day for me has just been impossible. So let's see how the baby is doing in terms of her development. It says many babies are now rotating from the breech position down into your pelvis. That has already happened. The doctor has already confirmed. The ultrasound confirmed as well. The baby's already head down and in great position for delivery, but I still feel like she's not like right there, you know. I was feeling that when I was walking around consistently in the morning, but now I don't feel as much pressure as I was feeling a couple of weeks ago, so that's great. After she is in the birth position, she will drop lower in your pelvis. If this is your first pregnancy, this may happen soon, even weeks before you give birth. Though in later pregnancies, it often doesn't happen till just before labor. I'm so happy to hear that, because imagine, like, this is definitely my second pregnancy. I really have experienced some pressure down there, which leads me to believe she's pretty low, but I'm happy to know that, like, anatomically speaking, it's not actually going to happen realistically at the end, until the end of the actual pregnancy, which is amazing. Most babies' organs and skeleton development is complete, although she is still growing stronger and refining her abilities every day as delivery draws near. Most of the development baby has left is just growing bigger and stronger. She's definitely big and she's definitely strong. The only organs that need just a touch more work are baby's lungs, and those are coming along fast as well. So that was actually also checked in this week's ultrasound, and they said that lungs are doing great. So I'm very happy to hear that even though they're still developing, at least at this point they're a-okay. So how is mom doing? In need of some help? Absolutely. I've been definitely in need of some help. Consider hiring a doula, a birth expert who can serve as your coach and assistant as you go through pregnancy, labor, and the first week of your baby's life. That sounds amazing. So in terms of the actual help, what I was thinking about was cleaning, cooking, doing all of that work that I definitely don't want to or have the energy to do right now. But yeah, this is a great plan too. A good doula can make for a much more comfortable and smoother delivery. If you feel strongly about your birth plan, a doula might be right for you. So this completes my 35-week pregnancy update. That's right, 35. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.